Did I join wrong?
Hi.
Hi. Did I
What'd you
join
say?
wrong?
No,
Am I okay?
I didn't expect you to sign in as our rec department.
I clicked the wrong connection.
Oh, no big deal. I just moved you over to panelist.
Okay.
Hang on.
Oh my God, I hate this haircut.
Let me
I
move
hate
this
this
unicorn.
woman.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi.
I have a unicorn too. Oh my God, we have the same unicorn. Almost.
Seriously?
No,
This
it's
is-
not the exact same.
Oh
There's
my God.
ours.
How funny. Yeah, Lou, this was one of Lucia's birthday presents.
Yeah, we don't have kids. That would just be me.
I got Nate a ball to sit on,
Yeah.
and
Does he
I'm
like it?
having trouble.
Oh, you're doing it.
Yeah. It's weird.
So if you disappear from the screen, I'll know where you went.
Oh, can you hear me now? Or can you see me?
No, I said if you disappear, like you roll off your ball,
Oh yeah, that'll
I'll know
totally
where
be me.
you went.
Yep. See my feet up in the air.
So, oh, by the way, I talked to Helen before I left, and she said that she didn't give me any details, but she said there's been an exposure at town hall and we should not be going over there. So don't go over there
Oh, okay.
to like deliver anything or anything.
What should I do with deposits? Just hold off?
Just hold off.
Okay, good to know.
Hold off at least this week. She said no one's going to be there tomorrow anyway. So I
Okay.
don't know what's going on.
Okay, no details, huh?
No, she didn't tell me, she's super about the rules, so she didn't give me anybody. So
Okay, I won't go then. Good
Yeah.
to know, because I was gonna go tomorrow.
do not go. I talked to Rod and I was like, Jonathan's going to be super long-winded. And he's like, I'll move him along, but I know he won't. Whatever.
Oh well, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Oh, I hate
Where
this
is everyone?
hair.
6:53.
I'm going to show like the end of my hair. Ugh, hate it.
I think it looks fine.
It looks so different to me. Mm-hmm. Hey, AJ.
Hello.
Hey, AJ.
Christina, Danielle, AJ.
Hello.
Hey, how are
Hello.
you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Rod. How are you?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
It would even be nicer to see you in person.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Hey, gang.
Hi.
How are you, Danielle?
Good. How are
Hey,
you?
Ryan.
Doing well. Hey, Ryan.
AJ, I'm glad you're being optimistic with the Giants hat.
They're next up, right? I guess the Warriors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They actually have a pretty exciting team this year.
Yes.
Got some good young guys this year. It's nice to see.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, it is remarkable that Steve Kerr really just knows how to work with different talent. Amazing coach.
Successful guy.
Very.
Yeah.
very,
Did
very
you guys see
good.
the game where Curry scored? I think it was 62 or 63.
62.
I didn't see it. I heard about it though.
Oh, he couldn't miss.
That's crazy.
He's a magician.
Oh, it was fun. I watched it with
It is
Kate.
fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, when you look at his size compared to the size of these guys today, it's just he's like Patrick Mahomes. He's
Yep.
relatively small.
Yeah.
Now,
My
what is
son-
he?
My,
He's
my
like
older son is
6'3".
actually taller than
Yeah,
Steph Curry.
yeah, he is. He's taller than he looks
Wow.
compared to those big guys out there.
Which gives Joe hope.
There you are.
Hear me?
So let's see. How we doing on time, Danielle? Pretty good. Oh, hey, Jan. We got Jan. We have Jan here too.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. It's 7. It's up to you. Give it a few more minutes.
Yeah, let's give it another minute. And oh, by the way, is Jonathan able to attend, Danielle? Do we know?
I stayed at the office till like 6 and he didn't call
Okay.
back and say otherwise.
So we'll probably hear from him soon then. That's Jonathan Braun. He's the chair of the Open Space Committee.
I don't know why my video is not working, but can you guys hear me?
Oh, hey, Jan.
We can hear you.
We can hear you
Okay.
fine.
It says my Zoom is updating, so maybe I'll pop back on, but I can see and hear everyone.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Good. Well, I think.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? This is Ryan. My
Oh,
video
there
is
you
for
are,
some reason
Ryan.
not working, but I can hear you guys.
Okay, we can hear you too. We can hear you.
Okay, good. I can hear you. For some reason, the video is weird.
Okay.
Where's
Well,
my phone?
I'm glad we didn't try to do this morning.
Where's my
with
phone? Where's my phone? I need it now. Is it over there?
Danielle, you want to wait a minute?
Just a sec.
Okay. Are you checking with Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm checking on something real quick.
Okay. Because, I mean, even if he couldn't join us for half an hour or so, that'd be fine too. We'll just move ahead. We all set?
Um,
Want to wait?
yeah, you can start. I'm gonna send you a quick text, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I hope everyone's healthy and your families are healthy in these challenging times. Let's begin with, well, we're calling to order this evening's meeting of the San Anselmo Parks and Recreation Commission. Let's begin with a roll call. I don't see Vance. Jan Wu,
Here,
Mike Serio,
Here.
Jen Trahan,
Here.
Ryan LaFrance. I know Ryan's here. Eric Overa and
Here.
Maya Lynch.
Here.
Okay.
Brian's here.
Oh, yeah, good. We saw you. All right. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes? Any modifications? Changes of any kind? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I,
Oppose? No opposition. The minutes are approved. This brings us to the time for public expression. If there's anyone who would like to address an issue that's not on the agenda, is free to do so. I don't think we have anyone from the public. Oh, I see.
We do
Hi.
have a panelist.
Excuse me?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So let's move now to the Parks report. AJ?
Yes. Not much to report. You guys had brought me back right smack dab in the middle of not doing much in parks. Does anybody have any questions that they have about parks?
AJ, do you want to update on the dog park issue we were having, or do you want me to do it?
So as far as I understand, there were so many emails going back and forth, but do we now have a firm contact for the dog park? Is it Matt?
Yes, Matt. So I'll go ahead. I know you were
Go
out
ahead.
of the office, but so basically, we had a gentleman email me complaining that there weren't enough wood chips at the dog park. And the committee, who is fantastic, stays on top of it. I do think this year that we didn't add wood chips and there was extra usage because everyone got a dog during COVID. But the problem is if we add too many wood chips, the drainage there, it creates drainage problems in the park. And so the committee always contacts AJ when they need him, and they have not contacted him. And so we had somebody who really wanted wood chips, and there were many emails that went back and forth, but at the end of the day, we did get wood chips, and so that's been handled. So if you hear anything about that, it was fixed.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was up there last weekend. There are more dogs in that dog park than we
Yeah.
typically see. It's remarkable. So I'm glad that we've added the additional committee members to the dog park committee. Okay. AJ, everybody in the family doing okay?
Everybody
well?
here, everybody here is good. My youngest last week, I have 3 daughters, and he doesn't like school, so she told her teacher she had a sore throat, and I had to take all of my kids out of school and get them COVID tests. So that's why I wasn't at work last week. Being extra cautious, but no, everybody's okay. Just a little scared, but I knew she was just trying to play hooky.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad everybody's doing well. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you guys too.
All right, so AJ, I think you're free to go back to the family. And,
Okay, well, I'll have more for you guys next time.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks,
All right.
AJ.
All right, so that brings us to the Open Space Committee presentation, but it does not look like Jonathan has joined.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to, unless that's him right there. I see a 415 number.
Oh, Jonathan? Not clear.
I clicked to let him talk. I'm assuming that's him. I don't know whose number that is.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Jonathan, is that you? Doesn't sound like it's Jonathan. But it also looks like he's muted. Is he free to talk, Christina?
I'm asking him to unmute.
Okay.
Hello,
Jonathan,
can you hear
that
me? I'm here.
good? Well,
My apologies.
that's okay. So let me just introduce, this is Jonathan Braun. He is the chair of the San Anselmo Open Space Committee. They've really done a wonderful job, as all of you know, and it's due in large part to Jonathan's effort. He made a presentation to the Parks and Rec Commission. I would say, Jonathan, what was it? Maybe a year ago, year and a half?
Yeah, I think a year and a half.
Okay. So we have a number of new members of the commission, and we thought it would be helpful, and many of the commission members have asked if you could give us an update on the activities of the Open Space Committee. So,
Well, I'm very happy to do that. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me tonight. And I apologize for not being on the video. I've been having technical problems with the computer, and I just could not get it to come up. So we'll just have to do it this way.
Okay.
So, for the folks that may be less familiar with the Open Space Committee, the committee was originated by the town council in 1981. And I was actually appointed as one of the original members. I was actually the first chairman of the committee all those 40 years ago, if you can believe that.
No.
And just to make it really clear that the charge for the Open Space Committee reads as follows. The committee has major responsibilities for the long-term planning of open space in and near San Anselmo, for the generation of community support, for the implementation of that program, and for the fundraising necessary to implement that program. The committee will involve itself in some long-range planning and also review planning and development matters that it deems appropriate for its review. The committee is an advisory body of the town council, and its role is to advocate for open space. So that's sort of the broad brush charge that we have, and implementing that over the years, just not to go into great detail, but back in the early period of the committee in the 1980s, we embarked on a master plan process for open space for San Anselmo, because you have to understand at that time, there was really nothing. I mean, we had a general plan that had an open space element, but it was not developed and specific, and there were no implementation strategies or methods at all, much less any funding. So we started a master planning process that it's like about 15 months, 2 years long, resulted in an open space master plan. The town council accepted that plan and incorporated it in the master plan update, or the general plan updates, in 1988 or 89, I think it was. So it is the working, living document that governs open space implementation and planning for San Anselmo. And to address the fundraising aspect, we created an open space endowment fund with the Marin Community Foundation in 1990. We were one of the first 3 donor-advised funds, MCF, at that time. And so all through these years, since 1990, we have had a special fund that's strictly for acquisition of open space in San Anselmo. And I can't tell you how much money we've raised, but it's, in the many, many hundreds of thousands over the years. And we have separate fundraising that we do to support our activities. You may have seen over the years, we've now produced over 30 fundraising events every spring, most of them held at St. John's Church in Ross with various keynote speakers and programs. And it's something that's sort of a cherished and much loved tradition by many. Unfortunately, despite all of our preparations, COVID-19 caused us to cancel the 2020 fundraiser. And I'm very excited to report that we collaborated with the Fairfax Open Space Committee to create a 2021 full-color illustrated calendar, which we've been selling, and we successfully sold 350 calendars so far as a fundraising effort. And there's still a few left in case anybody's interested. So yeah, fundraising is a big component of what we've done. The parks that we oversee are the open space parks in San Anselmo. That would be Swords Park, Fode Park, Hawthorne Canyon, Kite Hill, to a lesser extent, the Bald Hill Preserve, of which we were, key players in creating with the Marin Open Space District. But those lands actually are under the auspice and management of the Marin County Parks and Open Space District. And then, of course, we conceived of and implemented the creation of the Red Hill Trail and the Memorial Ridge Trail more recently in the last 2 or 3 years. Very pleased to say that those trails are open and are receiving an enormous amount of use these days with COVID-19. Tremendous amount of activity on the trails. So I received from Danielle a list of some questions that I think you folks wanted to have answered. And so what I've just spoken to covers, I think, number 1, which is an overview of what we do. Number 2 asks what trails allow hiking versus biking and or dogs. And so I wanted to bring to your attention that the town council back in 2014 adopted Resolution 4101, which sets park rules for all parks in San Anselmo, and including the open space parks. And so, and there's specific rules about dog use in Memorial Park and skate park. And if you haven't seen it, it's kind of interesting to read. I don't think a lot of people really are aware of all the details in our park regulations. But essentially, it forbids bicycles on any narrow single track walking trails. There's no trails that actually allow bikes. Dogs are allowed on all trails. They need to be under voice command or on a leash. So question number 3 was, is there a map of trailheads? How do you deal with trailheads that are close to people's homes and property? Well, the first part of that question, I would direct you to the San Anselmo Open Space Committee website, which is sananselmoopenspace.org. And on our website, we have a page for each of the open space parks with directions on how to get there and recommended walks. And that's really the only place that I know. This is something we might want to talk about further, is providing more resources to make it easier for town residents to get information about parks. But we do have that on our website. As far as trailheads that are near people's property, I can't say that we've done anything specifically to address that, although in the case of the Memorial Ridge Trail, specifically, the property owner was affected by that and objected to bringing more public in proximity to their property. So we took measures to sign that and put up bollards and a chain and make it very clear that it was private property. 4th question was, how can people learn about rules for trails? Now, that's a really, really good question. And as far as I know, the only way you can learn about the rules for trails is through the signage that we have in place. So at Swords Park and at Hawthorne Canyon, there's large park rule signs posted at the park entrances, which enumerate the various rules. And then we have posted at the Memorial Ridge Trail and Red Hill Trail specific trail use signs indicating that bikes are not allowed and that dogs need to be under voice control or on a leash. But I think this raises a good point that we probably would like be very beneficial to implement a specific place on the town website where the park rules are listed, make it easy for people to access that. Because the signage, some people may not see it or be paying attention. And we do have some problems with non-compliance. In fact, quite a bit. We're seeing a lot of bike riding on trails where that's forbidden. We're actually seeing a much increased level of vandalism. I'm very sorry to say we've had about 10 of our interpretive and rule signs vandalized to the point of actually being ripped out of the ground and taken away. It's quite discouraging. So fifth question was, how can the commission support the Open Space Committee and/or get the community involved to help? And a couple of thoughts about that. So first of all, we both share the proceeds of Measure A, and it's been the town council's policy the last number of years to split the proceeds from Measure A from the sales tax, 70% for Memorial Park and 30% for open space. So I think that's been a pretty good win-win for all sides there. We've used the proceeds so far towards the purchase of the Sky Ranch property on Bald Hill Ridge, which added to the Bald Hill Preserve, and that was in 2015, where the Marin Open Space Trust bought 15 acres, which is now owned by the Marin Parks and Open Space. And we contributed about $54,000 of Measure A money to the purchase of that land. The balance from a few years ago went to the construction of the Memorial Ridge Trail and the Red Hill Trail. So those are how we've expended the funds so far. Another way I could see us collaborating is cross promoting events such as fundraisers. We have work parties. There may be things that you folks are doing, and maybe we could, cross promote on our various forums to help each other. And I'm certainly open to any other ideas you might have. We're having a really fruitful collaboration with the Fairfax Open Space Committee. We collaborate on the fundraising calendar, as I said, and on some other events, broom pulls and the like. So I think it's really great for the various committees and commissions to be collaborating and support each other. And I also have some really exciting news I wanted to tell you guys. So I also serve on the board of directors of a land trust in Marin called the Marin Open Space Trust. And the Marin Open Space Trust just 3 weeks ago closed on a transaction to preserve the conservation easement 5 acres on Bald Hill. This is a property that belonged to the Theological Seminary since the 1800s. It was purchased by a development partnership about 6 years ago. And the San Anselmo Open Space Committee had been in discussions with the seminary going back to 1995 to try to protect this land. It's way up at about 800-foot elevation on Bald Hill. It has a cave that provides spring water, which at one time they used for irrigation, but is a great resource for wildlife. Anyway, not to go on and on, but I'm very, very happy and proud to say that it's now conserved in perpetuity. And this is a donation. The conservation easement is obtained without the expenditure of funds, although there were costs in attorney's fees and consultants and the like. So the San Anselmo Open Space Committee and most are going to split those costs 50-50. So that's big news. And with that, I don't want to take up your whole meeting, but I hope that gives you kind of an overview, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jonathan? He's done a great job. You know, I'm so pleased to hear about the acquisition on Bald Hill. I know that was not easy to accomplish. Wasn't the owner of that anticipating developing that property?
So I should make clear that this is not the Asia Alliance property, which includes the summit of Bald Hill. This is a small piece that's actually contiguous with the big Bald Hill property that we've been working so long on.
Well, that's terrific.
But the Bald Hill property, I should note, is actually on the market, and the Marin Open Space Trust is in discussions with their agent. So it's actually in play as we speak right now. And, we've been working for 30 years to try to acquire that mountain.
I know you've done a
So
great
keep
job.
your fingers crossed.
Jonathan, what's the resolution, the town council resolution with respect to the park rules?
Oh yeah, it's 4101.
40101.
4101
Okay.
from 2014.
All right. Thank you. Are there any trails in any of the open space preserves or properties that allow bikes?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay. And approximately, what is the mileage of trails that we have in our open space, roughly?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I'd say, let's see. Red Hill Trail, the Memorial Ridge Trail, various trails in Swords Park. There's a very short trail to the summit of Kite Hill. I'd say all of those together maybe amount to 2.5 miles.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. All right. Well, good.
Of course, a lot of those trails connect to trails on Marin County Parks and Open Space Preserves. The Swords Park connects with their whole network. The Kite Hill connects to more access on that ridge above Oak Manor and Sleepy Hollow. So there's quite a bit of connectivity.
Okay.
And our Bald Hill Preserve, of course, is directly adjacent to MMWD. So, when you get up into there, then you could walk all the way to the coast, really.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, actually. Okay. Anyone else with questions for Jonathan?
Yeah,
Yes.
Jonathan, this is
Eileen?
Mike Serio. I've got a question for
Oh,
you.
Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So Jonathan, my question is, you have work parties periodically. My family is, I'd say, a group of heavy users of the open space areas around San Anselmo. We'd love to help sometime and would love to engage our group of friends to do the same. Is there a way that you advertise when you're having those work parties? How do we get in touch?
So yeah, we do post it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So you can check out our you can go from our website to our Facebook page, and then I'm just thinking might be a good idea, with this thought of collaboration and cross-pollination. Maybe we could begin to try and think about sending from each of our committees notices, via email, or it can be shared or something like that.
We could do that. Jonathan, have you ever run the notice of the work parties in the town's newsletter?
Occasionally, yeah. They picked them up there.
Has it been productive?
Not so much, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of our work parties have to do with broom pulling, Scotch broom pulling.
Right.
And I'm afraid that
There's
it's
not
not
a lot
a
of busyness.
sought after weekend activity.
Right. Eileen, I know you had a question, and by the way, this is Eileen Burke, who's a member of our town council.
Hi,
Hi,
Jonathan.
Eileen.
Hi, good to hear you. I've been getting lots of emails from bikers, Bike Coalition, asking about a development of a trail through Sorich up to the ridge. I know bikes are allowed up on the ridge, but at this point you can't ride them from Sorich to get up there. And I'm wondering if the Open Space Committee has been receiving the same kind of questions and whether you've taken up that issue.
Yeah, we have. The bicycle, MCBC, the Marin Bicycle Coalition, put together actually a quite elaborate proposal actually to build, well, there were several scenarios, but their preferred scenario was to build a brand new mountain biking trail in Sorich Park, which essentially would be a series of switchbacks up the face of the, directly sort of behind the staging area there up the hill. And we were actually scheduled to have that on one of our agendas. And then it got postponed because to do so, it's actually kind of involved with CEQA, environmental review, and a number of procedural things that we weren't ready to address yet. So still kind of on the back burner.
Okay.
Isn't there access via Tomahawk?
There is, absolutely.
And so this would be in addition to Tomahawk?
That's what they're proposing, yeah.
I think what they're proposing is sort of a loop. So it's not an out and back. That's the information I'm getting is, and that Tomahawk apparently is relatively steep for riders.
Right.
I haven't seen all the proposals, but I know that's what they're discussing.
I might add about Tomahawk that that access isn't just there. When the Quarry Mountain subdivision was being proposed way back in the 1980s, we were actually really fought hard, and the town actually required that access from the developers of that subdivision because they wanted to make it a gated community and put a gate and block it off. So actually, I'm quite proud that you can access it through there because we worked very hard on that.
Okay.
A lot of things like that. Many things that exist that people take for granted around our town in terms of preserved parks and trails and access that were, the result of extended and sometimes fiercely fought battles. And that's a whole other story for another day, but just to say, there's quite a backstory to a lot of this.
Yes, I know. Unfortunately, you and others have kind of borne the brunt of a lot of that, and we appreciate your tenacity and perseverance, Jonathan. I think you and the committee have done a terrific job for the town.
Oh, thank you so much.
We're deeply appreciative. I think I think you've answered the questions that the various commissioners have. So thank you for being with us this evening.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. More than happy. And again, I apologize for not being on video. And yeah, I think let's just keep looking for opportunities to collaborate.
Good. We will do that for sure. Have a nice evening.
Okay. See you later.
And good night.
And Rod, just to wrap that up, item up, open space is under a lease in planning.
Yes.
And so obviously there's a natural connection. And so we have Jonathan come at least once a year and talk to us. But if anybody needs to know where open space lies, it is under planning.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you. Danielle, before we get to Memorial Park, let's do the financial report, okay?
Sure, happy to.
That'll be number 8. I'll take that first.
Okay, so obviously 50% of the year has gone by. And we have, we're listed at 32% of projected revenues and 39% of projected expenditures. That puts us at approximately $145,000 deficit. which is a negative 10%. As you all know, because I've reported it in past months, we, as a department, are using reserves to balance our budget. And those reserves are recreation reserves that we've built up over the years. And in addition to that, because those reserves may not last us, I'm in constant communication with both the town manager, Dave, and the finance director, Helen. In fact, we just met this month. We'll be meeting again once February numbers come in, and on a monthly basis going forward to make any decisions we might have to make concerning the department.
Okay. Well, I know it's been a very difficult 9 or 10 months, to say the least, with difficult months to come as well. Where does our staff stand in terms of vaccinations?
Today, we got an email from the county saying that because we have a licensed child care facility,
Right.
that the staff can be vaccinated, but that doesn't include all of our staff. That includes the staff members that work at that facility, and it includes anybody that would sub in. And because of the budget deficit, I had a talk with the staff today about moving full-time staff back into the classroom to help alleviate some of our cost expenses. And so in addition to that staff, there'll be 4 full-time staff also getting vaccinated who will be working with the children, possibly at the preschool. So the 2 full-time staff members that won't be getting the vaccine are myself and Greg, because we would never have a reason to go into the licensed preschool. Childcare is supposedly on that tier, although we haven't received an email, and then that would include our staff up at Robeson as well as Greg and myself, because we are working in the groups. We have kids in the office, in and out of the offices, and we have high exposure. So that's where it stands.
Assuming that we can get that group of our staff vaccinated, say in the next 6 weeks, say by the end of February, what impact will that have on our budget?
None.
Okay.
I think that, there's been some conversation. Obviously, you guys all know I attend a lot of county meetings, statewide meetings, regular conversations. And we do think there might be a trend towards parents asking, am I sending my child, have your teachers been vaccinated, when they're making choices as to where to send their children for programs. Although there's a fallacy in that thought, because even if you've been vaccinated, you can carry it. So there's really no having the teachers vaccinated only provides protection to our teachers and to continue to run our programs. It doesn't really provide true protection to the children in the program.
Right. How many, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And they do have appointments for this coming Saturday and Monday, I believe. That's how quick the turnaround is.
Oh, good, good. How many people do we currently have in our programs now?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head. I can go through the programs. I know we have 2 pods. If you're talking about preschool, we have 2 pods of 14, and I think we have like 1 empty space. So we have about 27. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I know up at Robeson, we have 2 pods of 7 for after school care, which has basically become 12 to 6. We have kids in the basketball program, which ends in mid-February. We have kids signing up for baseball. So it's a constant revolving door. I don't have a number. I can tell you that we've served over 1,400 children since June.
Right. And
we have not had a positive case breakout, knock on wood. We follow all procedures and we are very safe. And we are currently practicing 100% masking, whether you're inside or outside, and 6 feet of social distancing. And with kids, that's impossible. The 6 feet of social distancing is impossible to do 100% of the time, but that's our policy, and we recognize that, you know, we do our best to do that. But kids will be kids, and they'll get close to each other, and then we separate them. So
Well, I think your vigor with respect to the safety protocols has obviously been effective. So
thank you.
yeah, congratulations. It's not easy, particularly with kids.
I think that as a department, I mean, that we're just so unique in that we're completely ran on 100% of revenue. And we've done, considering what the challenges we've been up against for almost a year now, we've done really well, and we appreciate all of your support, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you.
It's a team effort
It is.
for sure. Okay, anybody have any questions about the financial report or about some of the issues that impact the financial condition of the department? Okay. All right, that then brings us to Memorial Park. And let me give everybody an update, because a number of things have happened since we met in the middle of December. As you all know, at our last meeting, at our December meeting, we have recommended to the town council to approve the repairs to the field and meadow. And so that issue will be taken up by the town council at their meeting next Tuesday on January 26th. The timing, assuming that the town council approves that, then the work would commence on the fields in August after the baseball season. And hopefully the repairs themselves would be completed by the end of November of this year. And then the fields are going to have to be fenced off through the rainy season, which, let's assume for a moment, runs through March. So the fields will be unavailable effectively from sometime in August through probably the end of March of 2022. The result, hopefully, will be improved drainage, new irrigation, and all new topsoil that's reseeded, and we should have a much improved field. But that issue is, the approval of that is before the town council next Tuesday. What this is going to do, I think, when the town begins to see this improvement to these fields, is there are other areas of the park that need to be addressed, as we all know. One of those is the playground. And there was a discussion last week. Eileen was there, Dave Donnery was there, Danielle was there, I was there. And there have been other discussions. The idea being to bring together a group from the town council and from the Parks and Rec Commission to focus on the playground. And the initial thought is it's really a sort of a two-step process there. There are certain improvements that need to be made soon, if not immediately, because they concern health and safety issues. And then there is the longer term improvements that need to be made to that playground. So the purpose of this joint committee or group or advisory committee would be to focus on the playground, what needs to be done there, and to spearhead the fundraising with respect to those improvements. So there is an inspection that is going to be conducted soon of the playground structures. And then the idea is, in light of the current condition, to retain an expert to look at the playground and what can be done to improve it, make it safe. And we also have to be realistic about the funds that are available. So we'll have more on that at our next meeting. And I think the formation of the committee is likely to be addressed at the upcoming town council meeting. So moving on to the skate park, there's a lot happening. So there was a meeting at the skate park on December 19th. This was a meeting that was called by Lisa Graham, who's done a wonderful job at the skate park over really the last almost 10 years. And the purpose was to have Will Hutchinson, who is one of the co-founders of Proof Lab, which as I recall, they did the design and they even done the supervision of the Mill Valley concrete skate park. But Will took a look at our skate park to see what repairs needed to be made. And by the way, I want to thank Maya, who brought to my attention and to Danielle's attention some issues that she had heard about through her friends at the skate park. And those issues have been addressed and are going to be addressed more extensively through Will Hutchinson. He is putting together an estimate of the costs. He thought the numbers would run in the neighborhood of $20,000, that those improvements would extend the life of those structures in the skate park by roughly 5 to 10 years. And we do have funds in that neighborhood. In other words, we do have a separate fund for the skate park. I think we have, Danielle, what, 22 or 23,000?
We have a little over 22,000, and that, just to keep in mind, based on my comments from the budget, that money was fundraised by Lisa Graham originally years ago when we first opened the skate park. So that is all fundraising money that we have had in order to maintain the skate park. Right.
So in other words, we have those funds are set aside for the skate park, and we'll have more detail on the repairs, but assuming that the repair cost estimates come in where Will Hutchinson thought they would, we have the funds to address those. And the idea there is to try to do those repairs in March. So that's sort of the short-term situation with the skate park. There's also a long-term view on the skate park. There has been discussion about looking into the possibility of a concrete skate park, which would be a more permanent structure. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at the one in Mill Valley. It really is quite impressive, and it gets a tremendous amount of use. And so the idea is to put together a group of people, and Danielle's been spearheading this along with Lisa, to look at the long-term possibility of building our own concrete skate park. And that's a project that, assuming we can do adequate fundraising, we could build it, call it 5 years out, when these the repairs we're about to do in March begin to need to be addressed again. So that's the long-term effect. We had, on this issue, we had Jen Trahan has indicated an interest in it. And I know that Maya and Eric are also interested in being involved with the skate park. Backing up for a moment on the playground, after our December meeting, I heard from a number of people, Mike and Jan, that is Jan Wu, both indicate an interest in working on the playground. So at our next meeting, we'll be looking at forming these committees or ad hoc subcommittees and putting our members on those committees to address these issues. On a fourth topic related to the park, as you all know from the master plan, we had a very nice path that went around it. And we have a number of people who are interested in that path. And one in particular is Ann Pulitzer, who ran for the town council in a very energetic, thoughtful campaign. I did talk with her when we did the meeting on the skate park in December. And she would be very interested in heading up an effort to make that path a reality. So we'll be talking further about that at our February meeting. And that, I think, brings everybody up to date on the park. So a lot's been happening in the last 4 weeks. And now that we've hopefully we'll have the fields addressed, there are other aspects of the park that we need to move vigorously to address as well. So anybody, any questions on any of these issues? So a lot happening now. If there are other people that would like to serve or are particularly interested in one of these areas, let me know. Give me a call, shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever's convenient, because in February, committees are going to be formed and we need members on those committees so that we move all of this forward. Okay.
Hey, Rod, has there been any
yeah,
discussion about like how many people you'd like to recruit for each one of these committees?
Yeah, so it really hasn't been pinned down. It'll depend on what happens at the town council meeting in January, whether they decide it would be best to do sort of a joint committee with Parks and Rec or more of a community advisory committee. But the thinking was that we probably will have 3 people on it. And the town council will have to decide for itself how many they have, but given that it's a 5-member body, they probably can't have more than 2.
Okay.
So, and then there will also be some community members that would be part of this as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rod, if I could just add to that,
Sure.
I think that right now, and I'm not speaking for the whole council obviously yet, but I think the thinking is to have sort of a core member of 1 or 2 council members and a few members from the Park and Rec Commission, but absolutely wide open to community members that want to participate, whether they're on the committee or not.
Yeah.
So if you have anyone that has some interest, I would encourage them.
Okay, good. Well, we definitely have people on the commission that are interested.
Okay.
So, we're ready to go. Okay, any other comments? Yeah, Ryan.
Ron, I know I've mentioned this in the past, and Eileen, you actually asked a question to Jonathan. What are the chances of our commission discussing adding something in the biking world, cycling, street cycling, mountain biking, whatever, some kind of programming to the Parks and Rec department? Is that like kind of, and I'm looking back at the archery guy, like, does it start with a discussion or a presentation from someone that could be a potential programmer or instructor or?
Right. So we have discussed this in the past, and what I don't recall, Danielle, have we done any? Oh, go ahead.
Let me clarify, Ryan, are you
Sure.
asking about like a instruction? Is that what you're asking about?
I'm trying to, I think that if we were to have something, I'm thinking about for young people, well, honestly, through whatever age, but both an instructional component, but also an advocacy component, not only for those that wish to ride on our streets. So we have a neighbor down the street that I think she coordinates safe streets. So there's a lot more cyclists on the road specifically, and our kids I'm seeing a lot more kids on the road, mine included.
Right.
And then also to Jonathan's point earlier, I mountain bike. I know the rules. I know where I can and can't ride, but a lot of people do. A lot of people don't, and a lot of people just choose to kind of ignore it. And so there's an opportunity there to potentially have some programming that, like I said, is instructional about how to be safe when you ride in any kind of condition, or but also include like, hey, here's what we do in Marin, or here's what's right and wrong and why, and then also that's kind of from the cyclist standpoint. But then also, it kind of shows the non-cyclists in San Anselmo or in the area that we're looking after our own, and we're trying to educate and inform those that a lot of the non-cyclists kind of complain about or may have issues with. So there, I feel like there's kind of a lot of ways to come at it. I'm not, not trying to say, hey, let's have a program that gets a kid off training wheels. More of kind of bigger than that, like
Right.
that's.
So I think that, so we could definitely do instruction and do some type of educational classes. I think that when you start getting into advocacy issues and community-wide education, you start getting into open space issue, planning issues, street issues, which is not under Parks and Recreation. And so while I think we could be involved in that, I think that there's a lot of conversation. It's definitely a big topic in Parks and Rec right now, especially the latest I hear a lot about is, e-bikes versus regular bikes and whatnot. So, I mean, I can definitely, start looking into that and see what our role can be and get back to you guys about that.
That'd be cool. Because it sounds like, Eileen, it sounds like you've been hearing from the Bicycle Coalition. I don't know if I bring this up because I've been, I was talking to Vernon Huffman a little bit ago from Access for Bikes, he's primarily focused on legal single track, whereas the Bicycle Coalition is kind of more focused on the bigger kind of Fire Road Trail Network, and as far as from the dirt side of things. But anyway, it's just as I see in the past couple of weeks, more and more interactions amongst kind of the users, that don't always go well. And it's just, I feel like something has to be done, and it's because whatever we're doing just doesn't seem to be working. I don't know. Well, I'm not saying teaching kids how to ride their bike in Memorial Park is going to fix it, but at the very least, I feel like if there's a way that we can kind of better educate, people on bikes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important at a lot of levels. One, it's important from a safety level for people in town and for the cyclists, frankly.
Right. Also,
another dimension that I might be interesting to look into is the proper maintenance of a bike.
Absolutely. It's a lifetime sport.
Exactly. Yeah. Whether it's a mountain bike or a road bike, if they're not maintained properly, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting other people at risk. And then, of course, there's just the courtesy, whether it's on the trails or with other cyclists or with pedestrians or hikers.
Horses, everything.
Yeah, horses. I mean, there's a lot to this, and we live in a big cycling community.
Yeah.
And to me, it's worth looking into.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're right. And it's, to your point, I mean, there's just so much, and I know this is kind of, a little what Danielle was saying. I know it's not advocacy, but just in learning how to do certain things properly, you are becoming a better steward of the sport, and in turn, a better steward of your trails, your roads, your community. And so it's not like we have to go and teach a class on, trail etiquette. I mean, you can just teach a class on how to be a good cyclist, and that kind of falls.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think it would, Danielle would, if you could maybe check in with some of the other towns, see what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm making notes on my computer right now. I will look into it.
I think this is, I mean, we live right in the middle of a cycling mecca here.
Yeah, I mean, the first mountain bikes were, literally the first mountain bike shop in the world was like, a block down the street from me. I mean, I feel like there's certain things we should, look forward to embracing. And I know there's a lot of history here that I hear about. But Danielle, I would say, and others chime in, please, but I don't know if we're going to find many kind of peers in Marin specifically, but I know Santa Cruz seems to have a pretty good thing going. So that might be.
I actually, both of my kids have been through mountain bike summer camp.
Right. Oh, cool. Like Otis or something?
Yeah, so which is very similar, and they do teach them etiquette as well as bike maintenance. So those might be good places to start. But I do, it raises an issue I think that we all are going to have to address, because so many people and adults and kids bike now probably more that maybe even participate in any of our other sports, because they all mountain bike also. And, there's been a lot of controversy and sort of some uncomfortable meetings between hikers and bicyclists, but I think we're going to have to eventually develop policy of, how do we, if at all, accommodate bikes better than we've done.
Yeah, I think that's true. A kind of apropos of Ryan's comment about Santa Cruz, a town that has been has dealt with many issues related to cyclists, and there have been a lot of conflicts, is Berkeley.
Ah,
I lived in Berkeley and was very active in the cycling community, and the Parks and Rec department was involved in the maintenance and sort of training and so forth. And we took issues to the town council, and now Berkeley has a tremendous number of dedicated bike lanes. And it has facilitated both automobile traffic, vehicular traffic, as well as cycling, and it's made it a safer place for the pedestrians. So, I mean, we are way, way behind in this town in terms of accommodating these three modes of transportation. But in any event, I think we should look into it, because I know our town is filled with kids and adults who are interested in cycling, and dedicated cyclists.
yeah. And since COVID, it's obviously, as we've all seen, it's just, I don't know, doubled, tripled, quadrupled. I mean, there's so many people loving our trails to death right now. And that's a good thing, ultimately, obviously, for our fitness and for our health and our mental well-being. But yeah, it's there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of people that could, probably use a refresher course on any number of things. To your point, Rod, I remember the first month of the shutdown, I was riding. I don't typically ride around Deer Park or crowds. I typically go out to Pine Mountain area, but you'd hear a lot of, you hear a lot of noisy bikes. You can tell a lot of bikes are being brought out from like the basement or the attic, and you're like, that's too fast for that bike right now.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, you can't buy a bike today. They're sold out.
No.
And but there are a lot of bikes out there that frankly aren't properly maintained, and they're unsafe for the riders and everybody around them.
Yeah.
Puppies are sold out too.
Puppies, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's an interesting time, to say the least. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan, for bringing that up. I think it's a very important issue. Danielle, let's see, anything further on the park? We've talked about bikes, staff updates. Danielle, anything on that front? No? Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
I said, just in review of December, we did the Santa event. I worked for a town years ago that did that. They drove Santa around on a truck every year. And so it was super popular. Maddie did a great job in planning it. And the whole team participated. Greg drove the truck, and we got so many incredible compliments from the community that we have decided to do the same thing with the Easter Bunny.
Oh, cool.
And
good.
Lori had the idea, and Maddie came up with the name, which is Bunny Express. And Christina, our friend here, is going to be the Easter Bunny on the back of the truck.
Nice.
And Greg is going to drive the truck. So that should be some fun. Looking forward into the spring. And we are working on a strategic plan for Age Friendly. So I'm working with Sarah on that, and we're currently meeting with each department head, and then we should be able to finalize our strategic plan. If you remember, we did a survey pre-COVID, and then when COVID came, we got a little sidetracked and focused on reaching out to our community. So we do have a due date, and we are going to focus on that and get that into the county. Also, Age Friendly came up with a program. Sarah's great, as you all know, and she came up with a program with the group, and they met the other day to do ribbons for hope, and they're going to partner with Cedars, and they're going to be ribbons around trees that express hope for our community. So, you know, just some fun things going around. We're trying to really reach out to the community and provide some support where we can. So that's what's going on.
Okay, well, there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully this year we will begin planning for Country Fair Day. Which I
We
think,
will see. I think it'll be an alternative version, but we'll definitely do something.
yeah, I would just love to see that go forward. Would be wonderful for all of us to look forward to. So does anybody have any items for the future agenda for next month or the one after? We'll deal with this. We'll deal with the committee issue with respect to the park, obviously, that we talked about. Also, it occurred to me that we probably should have an election for chair and co-chair of the Parks and Rec Commission, only because I don't even remember the last time we did it. So I thought maybe, why don't we put that on the March agenda and address that. Anything else that anyone else on their mind? Okay. Well, it was wonderful to see everybody, and I can't wait to see everybody in person. Stay healthy, and our meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Happy New Year, guys.
Thanks,
Happy
Rod.
New Year, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.
Rod.